Hello everyone, this is Shauna with DisruptApps today, and today I just got finished making a presentation about why the internet sucks and what to do about it. And recently on the YouTubes there have been a lot of people out there making about why the internet sucks, and they go on about like web bots and advertising and this, that, and the other thing, and I'll go into that, but I also want to go into the deep root of exactly why the internet sucks, even though it's still a wonderful thing, but why the internet sucks and what to do about it. And so for this presentation, I got some images to make it more engaging for people who like to see pictures and stuff. But let's go. Why the internet sucks. Well, it started with the freemium business model and our socio-economic system. And if you're unaware of what freemium means, freemium, like premium. So basically, a company or a tech company or whatever will give you a free service. And if you want a quote-unquote better service or one with more features, functionalities, and options, you need to pay for it. And generally that's with a subscription service. But this all started because of the freemium business model and the way that our economic social system is structured for incentivization of why we do anything, and I'll go over that here. So if you remember back in the day, and I have a picture here from those of us who are old and remember the old internet from back in the day of dial-up, when we first got our modems back in 96, 95, 97 with AOL and CompuServe, and we went on the old school internet with Netscape Navigator and things like that, and Microsoft Explorer, and we had GeoCities. And back then, you can see from this little clip art I found, the internet was this, for us, it was novel. It was simple, it was basic, and everyone was like, whoa, what is this crazy thing? I mean, you know, back in the day, it was a hobbyist thing. A lot of geeks and nerds were doing that, and I dabbled in it, not very long. I wish I had. But, so yeah, you remember GeoCities, IRC, AOL, and you've got mail. Well, it was a cool new thing back then, and it wasn't really for profit. But if you were around back then, you knew the dot-com era, how it came in. And like everything else in this capitalist, money-driven society, people are like, how can we make money off of it? You know, how can we make money off of that? And briefly, real quickly here, pull up a chart of the rise and fall of the dot-com bubble. And if you were alive back then and you saw how much the stock market went up, and then how much it crashed after the collapse. And if you're around back then, you remember all the advertisements for like pets.com and all these technology companies that tried their hand at it, but for one reason or another, like I said here, back then the infrastructure wasn't there. And you got to remember, people's mentalities were still of the 80s and 90s mindset, where the internet was, a lot of people thought it was just a fad, you know, and it's only going to be relegated to rich people or people who are tech nerds and geeks and stuff like that. And no one in like working class people really had a foresight of how big this is going to be, but some people did. And back then, like I mentioned here, you know, a lot of modern apps and online services we have now were tried back in that era, but because of technological limitations, and the public just wasn't open to that sort of thing back then. And one of the most infamous ones, if you remember, was a pets.com dog that went on the internet and like Super Bowl ads and stuff like that, and you know, tried to get pets.com to go, and of course it lasted, you know, briefly, and then it collapsed because again, it just wasn't the time wasn't ready for it. Moving on, so back in the day we got blasted with ads and pop-up ads back in the late 90s and 2000s, and you know, you remember those like I do. You've just got bombarded with these things on the early internet, and that was like the first way that people tried to monetize the internet, you know, that would work and be long lasting instead of the .com crash. So the internet started off as like a hobbyist sort of thing, and then it just became like basically a digital billboard. So if you remember that era, you remember how annoying those things were, and they're still annoying today. So then in the 2000s, we had, if you remember, you had like the first big one was, what was it? MySpace. And we all have fond memories of dabbling around with MySpace, and then Facebook came around and buried MySpace. But then in the 2000s, social media came around and manipulated people into sharing their info and interests, because at the time, end users, we didn't really have an idea about data and being collected and sold, as it was unheard of. No, the layperson out there didn't conceive of that business model. And then later on, when things got uncovered, we started understanding that these tech companies were taking our data and mining it and selling it. In my personal experience, I remember getting on Facebook for the first time, and I was like, oh, this is cool. I can share what movies I like and what books I like and my political views and stances and ideas, and take my own personal interests in science and technology, and maybe this would be a great way to meet people. But I was ignorant. I was naive of what the intent was, as were millions of us. And it only took after time of it coming out to say what these social media apps were really about. So basically, big tech companies quietly conditioned humanity. Let me say that again. Big tech companies quietly conditioned humanity to hand over all of their personal and private data and images for free, making them the product. So, this was the beginning. This is one of my favorite pictures. Here on the left-hand corner, that's your big tech overlords. And here is you in your little digital manipulated cage, who have got you like a rat in a cage. What's that Smashing Pumpkin song? God, I'm dating myself here, but seriously, that's what they've done. They've conditioned humanity to accept giving over your privacy and your data for free. Now, for those of us who are older, back in the 70s and 80s, like, your parents or grandparents, they would have laughed at this. They would say, why would anyone give over your data? Because back then people had some sensibility about keeping things private. Then big tech comes in and they condition humanity to make it have your data, infiltrated and your privacy infiltrated as norm. They normalized it. So kind of in a basic synopsis, back then, early internet, that golden era, if you will, the public internet started off as a sort of hobbyist experimental playground to a giant interconnected virtual advertising system, a globalized instant billboard system, advertising system, and then to a way for companies to extract your data, monetize your data, and turn it into sell you shit, to become a consumerist mechanism. And when I say the public internet, I'm talking about like post Tim Berners-Lee when that went for the public. I'm not talking about DARPA or the 70s and 80s systems between companies or the universities and colleges in America. I'm talking about when we all got AOL and CompuServe and stuff like that. So, just a quick little visual. This is what the internet has become, a money-wringing machine. So the internet started out with the idea of instant decentralized communication, but essentially the technical greatness of the internet was hijacked for the profit motive. When you have a socio-economic system whose number one goal is money, what do you expect? And I also love this picture. What a money shot. Here everyone's going to worshiping the altar of the dollar, the almighty dollar above everything else. That's what this society is all about. So what do you expect? Where do you expect the internet is going to go? So basically, social media allowed big tech and all those companies and advertisers and data brokers to prey upon everyone's emotional vulnerabilities, egos, biological urges, and basically monetizing their humanity. So basically, when you get on the internet, and all those algorithms and all that crap you see, once again, that's the above you, you little monkey on the keyboard here, all of us chattel down here playing on the keyboards. This hand above you is big tech manipulating you. That's what the internet has allowed and why it sucks. The internet sucks because it has created the SAS and XaaS society, which if you don't know what SAS and XaaS mean, that's an old term from basically a software as a service or everything as a service. XaaS means everything as a service or anything as a service. And basically this is being shoved down our throats because, again, it comes down to the bottom line. You know, it's instead of selling physical media like CDs and records, hey, we can sell the subscription and we don't have to ship anything. Well, you don't own you don't own it. You don't have a CD or a record or a cassette or a VHS tape or whatever in your possession. You just have data on the cloud or data on your computer that, unless you hack it or download it, you don't own it. And a couple of visuals here. This is an image I made of what I think, how I feel XaaS, everything as a service is. It's manipulating humanity. You're being manipulated by big tech and all these service companies. You're at their mercy. And then, so what exactly is XaaS? Well, here's a really simple diagram. It means so many things: software as a service, infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, business processes as a service. And I know it's kind of hard to see, but everything as a service, humans as a service, software as a service, platform as a service, infrastructure as a service, hardware layer. Basically, the internet is enabling and allowing big tech to gigify and appify everything to make you a never owner, a forever renter. And that's why, I'll go into this more, but the internet also sucks because it enables corporations to end the right to repair practices for people who buy and own tangible products in the real world. I mean, this started a few years ago with farmers and John Deere, I think it was. They couldn't repair their own stuff because of the practices, and that thing is getting more and more and more invasive, from like smartphones to computers and trusted platforms and this, that, and the other thing. And people say, oh, communist socialist takeover, but hell, capitalists are doing it worse because their business practices. People say, oh, you'll own nothing and be happy, Klaus Schmidt. Well, he's a capitalist. All these people are capitalists, not communists and socialists. Come on. So, yeah. The internet also sucks because of this idiotic, neuronic, and sudden need to connect everything to the internet. The IoT, Internet of Things. I mean, our grandparents grew up with ice boxes and refrigerators and stoves and dishwashers and washing machines that didn't need to be connected to the internet. But all of a sudden, we had to connect everything to the internet. So you tell me why. Why does my smartphone, why does Google, why does Facebook, why does the app of the week, why does the tech company of the month need to know what the hell my washing machine is doing? How much soap I'm putting in there? How much water it's using? Why the hell do they need to know what's in my fridge? Or how much water is coming out of my sink? I mean, how brown I like my toast. What are you people thinking? Why are you buying into this crap? Do you want them to know everything about you? I mean, seriously, our forefathers went millennia without needing to connect things to this giant network, and all of a sudden we have to have it? Give me a break. The internet sucks because of AI. Sorry about that typo, to build so many data centers, and that spits in the face of sustainability in so many ways. And if you've seen data centers, if you know about them, I mean, I think that's a crypto rig, but a data center is huge. Thousands and thousands of servers just churning away in a data center. I'm going to put this picture back up. I have some pictures of like crypto mining rigs that are being built and stuff like that. But it's essentially the same thing. You just have giant buildings going up all over the United States, all over the world, that are just sucking energy from the grid. And, you know, we talk about climate change and crap like that and being sustainable when they're building all these data centers that have thousands of servers, and they're sucking up megawatts and gigawatts of energy. And then big tech has the gall to say, watch your carbon footprint, when they're sitting here sucking up water from the public utility system or water table. They're building out, they're going nuclear. They want to resurrect nuclear just to power data centers. The energy's got to come from somewhere. It ain't going to come from the mystic deep blue 0 point energy. This shit's going to come from gas powered plants, coal powered plants, and they spit in the face of sustainability. And it's all because the internet enables this. Without the internet, you wouldn't have data centers like this, like we have now. And it's all because of AI. It's all because of this AI agenda and about keeping big tech profitable and about keeping semiconductor fabs making chips and hardware companies making servers. It's all about money. It's not about you. The internet sucks because it allows for idiotic explosion of stupid energy and resource-intensive crypto mining. And that was a picture I previously put up before. You have all these, this is nothing new. When crypto hit that boom back in around the COVID time and a little bit before that, there was just all over the world, crypto miners threw up these metal buildings and just stashed them with thousands and thousands and thousands of GPUs and ASCIIs or whatever those specialized crypto mining units were, just to mine crypto that doesn't exist, that has no backing in reality. And the internet is what permits this. It is what enables this idiotic crypto crap. Now here's like another thing. They're building these crypto mining things out in the middle of nowhere. You've seen things on YouTube where they're building these crypto mining things right in the middle of neighborhoods in Texas and Georgia and whatever, and people are getting sick because they put up these generators that spew crap out in the atmosphere. And once again, this stupid crypto mining just sucks down energy and resources, rare earth metals, copper, nickel, cobalt, all that crap, gold, all the stuff that goes into making, microchips and PCB boards and all that. And the internet sucks because it enables this crap. And here's another one that's recently coming up that people are finally getting in their heads. The internet also sucks because it enables fascist regimes of the present to control and power that only past fascist regimes could only dream of. We all know what's going on with the Trump administration. And there's a certain company out there, if you know, I'm not a big Lord of the Rings fan, but I know what this thing is. And it starts with a P and ends with an R. And there's a company out there that is basically that thing. That's getting your databases, connecting databases, that's creating a surveillance state. Because like I said in my other videos, AI, robotics, automation driven by big tech greed and big tech power is going to destroy the working class. It's going to destroy people's ways to make money. And how are they going to, when you have a society that has nothing to lose and is angry and resentful, how are they going to control the angry, resentful masses? Well, they're going to have companies that start with a P that know and see and know everything you do. They need those people and those kinds of companies in place to keep you angry, unemployed masses under control and under surveillance. So the internet also sucks because it's enabling real-time biometric surveillance state, which was not possible in the 80s and 90s, when the internet wasn't as large and as fast. And so if you're old like me, you remember flying, you just went through a metal detector. That was it. I flew to Vietnam, was it 2015? And even in Vietnam, you just walked through a metal detector back in the day. When I visited Japan the first time in 2013, you walk through a metal detector. But now, you got to have, those body scanning machines. And now, when you want to go travel abroad, what do you have to do? You got to get your face scanned. You got to put your fingerprints in. You got to get checked by this guy. you know, and oh, it's easy, it's convenient. But look, think about your grandparents. Think about your parents who were born in the 50s or 60s. Would they have wanted this shit? What is wrong with photo ID? You tell me, people, why are we accepting this shit? I'm sorry to get angry, but it's frustrating. We're walking ourselves into this dystopia. And the internet sucks because it allows for these control systems to be put in place. And guess what? We have a fascist regime coming in and trying to seat itself in government. And what is this fascist regime? The Nazis back in the day would have loved to have this technology because it would have made rounding up the people they didn't want and to send to camps a hell of a lot easier. And we're walking into this. We're giving it to them. The internet enables this to happen. The internet also sucks because it allows for the crypto lunacy and the creation of a fascist-controlled UBI blockchain dystopia. And I went over this in one of my other videos, but really quick, let me pull up Genius Act. Let me see if I can find it without having... Right here. If you, I did a video on this, which is not getting a lot of views, but if you sit here and if you read the Genius Act, if you come in here and read by line, stablecoin, the internet is going to permit this Trump regime to create a crypto scam system of payment stablecoin where you're only going to be a permitted payment stablecoin user. And this is basically, if you read through all this, to become a permitted payment stablecoin user, you're going to have to be regulated by the government, by Trump's crypto regime. And you know what? I read this again on one of my other videos. The internet sucks because it's going to enable this. And I'm tying this in to a UBI blockchain dystopia because Trump and all the big tech want to put everybody on a crypto blockchain system. And I'm telling you, if we keep going in the direction we are, and everyone has to get on some sort of UBI just to survive after big tech wipes out all of our jobs, if you're not a fan of the Trump regime, if you're a dissident, you're not going to get your UBI. If you're part of the LGBTQ community who they hate and they want to erase, you're not going to get UBI. You're certainly not going to get it if you're an immigrant. I'm telling you, and the internet sucks because it enables it. In the recent years, the internet sucks because of bots, especially bots that are trying to create narratives on social media, destabilizing politics, trying to sway people's opinions, spreading disinformation, as well as flood the internet with traffic using up bandwidth for those of us who run apps, sites, platforms, and servers. And in one of my videos, personally, as a developer and running a server and sites, I had to deal with bots because AI is out there sucking up your data, which ties into what I have right here. The internet sucks because it allows for AI to come in and suck up your data and information and intellectual property. And I tell you, if you don't want anything on the internet nowadays, if you don't want to put like your poetry, your writings, if you don't want your heartfelt creativity sucked up by big tech and used without your permission, don't put it on the internet. If you have a great idea for some technology or physical media or 3D printing thing, don't put it on the internet because AI is going to suck it up. It's going to put it in their black box algorithms, and all those companies out there with a hell of a lot more money and lawyers than you will take your good idea and they're going to make it for their profit, leaving you with jack shit. Let me pull up a picture I came. So here are AI bots going around all the internet, sucking up all your monies and transactions, what you spend your money on, your locations, your ideas. This is why the internet sucks. And like I said in my other videos, web scraping is nothing new because it's a public and open technology, but it's just gotten out of hand because, again, it's all about the money. It's making profits. They want to suck up as much data and information they can to monetize it. And that's why the internet sucks. And going back, all of this started because of the freemium business model from back in the 2000s with social media. The power has been consolidated by all the big tech companies you know, all the big names that you know. And it's very hard to make any competing companies or systems or platforms because big tech has created an oligopoly, an oligarchy and oligopoly, and they basically cornered the market. And they've got so much power that they can legally defend that they don't. Oh, they can say, well, we're not a monopoly or duopoly. It's still a free and fair market when it's actually, BS. So I mean, if you're an independent tech company who wants to do a good thing or make something new or good for the end user, it's going to be almost impossible for you to compete, because everyone's so used to big platforms like TikTok, I shouldn't say like TT and Google and Facebook and all these other, and Instagram and all that crap, because they've had a head start and because they have huge financial backing. They have to have all these servers because they're a centralized company with all these servers, right? So they either have the money to rent out these huge server farms and data centers, or they own it outright. And that was because of how the internet developed. They consolidated the market over the past 30 years. And for a small startup to even try and compete, they're going to have to figure out how do we build something from the grassroots when we're competing with people who have massive data centers. And it's because of the economies of scale. I mean, when you're a $1 billion company, you can afford to pay people, lots of money to run your servers and code websites and applications, because you have such huge money running through your system that you can afford to basically run lost leads. You can afford a freemium system, whereas a small startup can't. A small startup has to build their own infrastructure. They have to pay their own bills. I mean, the people of the company have to eat. They got to keep a roof over their head. And to compete with the big tech is so hard. And right here, since consumers don't want to pay for internet platforms, when end users don't want to pay for apps because they have been conditioned by big tech for 20 or 30 years now, it's hard for tech companies to fight an uphill battle. Like I said before, it takes money to build and run servers, to write code, to advertise, just to survive. And when big tech is raking in billions and billions of dollars and have had a decade's head start, it's hard for us, I'm using myself an example, to compete. And it's hard to fight the algorithm. It is so hard to fight an algorithm that suppresses people who want to make change. And then again, big tech's monopolistic economies of scale crush real innovation and make the internet suck. So, and again, the whole thing boils down to the profit motive in our socio-economic system. Basically, the way this system is, exploit the technology to leverage more money out of people's pockets. Use technology to screw with people's dopamine and dopamine and that other serotonin levels, hack their biology to make them addicted, make them conditionally and make them classically and operantly conditioned to all the dings, bells, whistles, lights, and flashes on their smartphones and computers, make them addicted, and basically screw over my fellow human beings so I can make a buck. And to hell with the environment. Who cares? Let's just crypto mine and AI data center everything into oblivion and in the face of sustainability, while saying, oh, we're a sustainable company. And basically consolidate technological power into so few hands, it makes it difficult for companies to compete. And it's all because of our socio-economic motivations. Profit above else, fuck everyone else. Excuse me for my impolite French. So that's why the internet sucks, in a nutshell. So, how do we make the internet not suck? End users need to realize that they are the product. Big tech has turned everyone into monetized data points that they shove content in front of so that you look at it and digest it and then spit back more data for them to process so they can sell you more shit or manipulate you even more. People need to understand that. People need to understand end users have no privacy. The whole internet is based on no privacy now. They need your data to make money and to manipulate you. People need to understand that big tech doesn't want to empower you. When you see those commercials and advertisements about, oh, so-and-so company, we're here to empower you and double your workflow and bottom line this and productivity that, they're just blowing smoke up your tailpipe. They want your data and they want to control you with algorithms and they just want to make money. Big tech they will always speak half-truths about your data and privacy because all they care about is money, power, and control. So you remember those things when all those big tech guys got up there and, oh, we're sorry about your data and we mismanage your data, we'll do better in the future. They don't care. It's crocodile apologetic tears. Don't listen to those people. Be aware that there are companies out here. We are out here. We are ready to provide alternative platforms and services that will never collect, steal, sell, analyze, scrape your data, or use AI in any way to do your data and to sell it, to make money off of it, and we will protect your privacy. There are people and companies out here willing to put in the hard work. End users need to understand that the freemium model enables big tech's dominance, your loss of privacy, your loss of dignity, all the stuff I've done and showed you in this video why the internet sucks. It's the freemium model. And sorry for the typo in there, that should be there over here, but I literally wrote this out and didn't really proofread it. I just got it out there because I wanted to get it out there. But again, because big tech, economies of scale, they got a head start. They basically made the internet, you either play by our rules, give up your dignity, give up your privacy. We're going to do this blockchain crap. We're going to do this crypto mining crap. We're going to do this AI crap, whether you like it or not, because of the freemium model. You need to start supporting local developers. You need to start supporting breakaway platforms, alternative platforms. And let me get here at my statement, in that if people want a better, honest, and faithful digital experiences, they need to directly support local developers and tech companies who are transparent with their practices and that will never collect, steal, sell, scrape, or AI your data, as well as protect your privacy. So, what can I say? I've laid it out here why the internet sucks, and it comes down to socio-economic motivations of our capitalist system and what we need to do about it. User awareness, find alternative platforms, support people, support companies who will do the right thing in the face of technological unemployment and technological dystopia, own nothing society. And with that, my name is Shauna Brooks. I am the founder of DisruptApps LLC. There's my contact information, and I do web development. I run servers, do web hosting, and I'm building out my own peer-to-peer web browsing, not web browsing, but a peer-to-peer browsing system for that's going to be private. Anyways, thank you for your time. Have a lovely and wonderful day. Bye-bye.